What's up, Internet? My name is Michael Cook, and this is Blue Giant Media. We're here to help you find, learn, and play the games that you love. Today, we've got Dragon Castle by Lorenzo Silva and published by Horrible Games, which is a subsidiary of Cool Mini or Not. We're going to open up this game. We're going to set it up in real time so you can get a feel for how long it actually takes to set it up, or so you can do this with me. Maybe you just got the game or you checked it out. And we're also going to play through a couple rounds together so you can get a feel for how the game plays, to see whether you like it, or so you can jump right in and get playing as quick as possible and get a good feel for things. Without further ado, let's ready, set, play. So as I mentioned, Dragon Castle is a Mahjong style game where you're going to be having Mahjong type tiles and you're going to be taking them off of the board that is set up in a Mahjong style and adding them to your own player board to build up your own little castle to please the dragons. So we're going to start with the 2-player board, which, as you can see, there is a 3-player board and 4-player board, and there's also an open board because you can set the game up in multiple different ways, which is given to you in the back of the rulebook. There's a whole bunch of different ways that you can set the board up. We're going to go ahead and set it up the normal 2-player way. Alright, so we're going to get, first things first, a whole bunch of tiles. And as you can see on the board, there's a bunch of 1s, 2s, and 3s, which is going to tell you how tall to make the stacks on each of those. Alright, so first thing you're going to do is just take all of these and set them face up. Like I said, I'm going to be doing this real time so that you can do this along with me, and so you can get an idea of how long it actually takes to set the game up, because that's not something that they put on the side of the box. They don't advertise that. Board Game Geek does not specify setup time, so I want you to get a feel for how long it actually takes to set the game up. So as we get these, we can go ahead and move them over here. I'm going to go ahead and set up all of the 1 spaces so that I can make stacks for the 2s and the 3s as we go. Alright, all these. So I will say, I know this is not my review, but I will say that this is a really fun game. It is accessible. It is a good gateway game. If this is your first time playing the game, then I hope you have a good time, because I know I did. It is a pretty game. These components are really nice. They are chunky. They have a good weight to them. Alright, so now let's just start making some stacks. Stacks of 2, a whole bunch of them. And stacks of 3. So one of the nice things is a lot of people are familiar with Mahjong. So the concept is pretty easy to come by. I'll go ahead and explain, I guess, a couple of the rules as I set this up. So on your turn, you're going to be taking one of 3 different actions, 4 as you approach the end of the game. One thing you can do is take 1 tile of your choice and discard it from the board completely and take 1 victory point. Another thing you can do is take one of the tiles and put it onto the side portion of your player board. And take an additional roof tile. Okay, I'm going to put these up here and set it also on the side of your player board. Another thing that you can do towards the end of the game, which I will explain how we get there, is you can take a dragon tile and just make that your turn, which is worth 2 points at the end of the game. So when you take these actions, you have to take the tiles off of the topmost level. So at the beginning of the game, you have to take it from one of the level, one tile at least from level 3 of the board. So if you're taking just one tile and discarding it, or taking one tile and one roof, then that one tile is going to be off of the top of the castle. If you are taking 2 tiles, which is another one of the actions you can take, one tile must be from the top, and the other tile can be from any area. Top, second, third, first layer, however it breaks down. But whenever you take any of those tiles, the first, any of the tiles that you take must have a long edge exposed. Okay? So, as I mentioned, you can just take one tile, so you can't take one of these ones because only a short edge is exposed to the outside. But these 3 here and these 3 here all have a long edge exposed. So you could take one of those and discard it to take 1 point, which you might want to do because maybe you know that if you did something else, it might open up more options for your opponent. So you might want to just ditch that one piece and take the 1 point so that your opponent is forced, hopefully, to reveal more options, because once the top level is gone, then now there are a whole bunch more options, and once the last tile is removed from the second floor, now you have, again, a whole bunch more options around the outside of the bottom floor. So also, whenever you're going to take one and discard and add it to your player board and take 1 roof, then again has to have a long edge exposed. And when you take 2, unlike Mahjong, the type that you're going to play or have played maybe on your phone or your computer, the tiles don't have to just match by symbol, they must match by the symbol and the number. So you can't say I'm going to take this one and this one, because that one is yellow with 1 symbol and this one is yellow with 4 symbols. So you would have to take this one and this one right here because they are exactly identical. Alright, you will select a start player, which we'll just go ahead and say is me, and you can give each player a player reference, which is double-sided. One side explains those 4 actions, 2 identical tiles, 1 tile and take a roof, or discard a tile and take a point, and at the end of the game you can have the option of taking a dragon tile. So, end game. Once you get to the bottom floor being the top floor, so in other words, once the 3rd floor and the 2nd floor are completely removed, then you have the option of taking a dragon tile. If you take one of these dragon tiles, it is going to be worth 2 points to you, but once the one covering the exclamation point is taken, you will finish out the round. So if this person goes first, they're the first player, and they take this tile showing exclamation point, since they're the first player, this player has 1 more turn in which they can, if they want, take another. But if it is this player's turn and they take that last tile, then they end the game completely. Like many games, the way to win is having the most points. Points are going to be shown here and with these point tokens. So, another thing that is optional if you decide to use it, there are spirits and dragons, which add some variability to the game. The spirits which I will not use this particular game. If you want to see more about those, you can look in the Spotlight. My review of this game, I will include the spirits and the dragons. But these, you have the option of discarding a face-up tile from either your actual board here or your save space here, or discarding a roof tile in order to take a special action. This one says that you can break that rule of having two identical tiles. Now they just have to match by symbol. Then you are allowed to take them, but you will have to discard one face-up tile or one roof tile in order to be able to take this special action. And there's a whole bunch of other ones that you can do. There are 10 of these. And then another thing that you can do is include the dragons, of which there are also 10, but they change the way that you can score. So this says at the end of the game, if you have any tiles around the outside that have a shrine, the roof, on top of it that's on the outside edge, you'll get an additional bonus point for each of those. This one says for every shrine that you have that is adjacent to a face-up pink dragon tile, you'll get a bonus point. So these give different ways to score bonus points. And on both these and the spirit cards, there's a little lantern in the bottom left of the ones that it recommends using for your first couple games because they're a little bit simpler in either scoring or in mechanic. And then there's a whole bunch of other ones that are maybe a little bit more complicated. The last thing we'll do for setup is each player takes one roof tile. Okay, so, and I'll explain how you get the roof tiles onto your board in just a moment. So for my first turn, I'm going to go ahead and take these two. So remember, the first tile must come off the top floor. Second tile can come from anywhere. I'm taking two identical tiles. Then once you get those, you can add them anywhere you want in the board. They could be anywhere you want. They could be next to each other. They can be spread apart. I'm going to keep them I'll go ahead and go right next to each other. And sorry, I misspoke earlier. You don't put any of the tiles here. When you're doing those spirits, you obviously are just going to take them from the board here because none of them are saved here. Only the roof, the shrines, are saved here. Then we'll come to your turn. So you could take these two that match. And then it's going to come back to my turn. So as you can see, each turn is relatively quick once you decide what it is you want to do. And there's only a couple options. The only thing that's going to give you a lot of options is how you want to take those actions on the board. How many different available choices you have to actually make those decisions. So I'm going to go ahead on my turn and take these two matching tiles. And I'll put them a little bit off to the side here. And it'll come over to your turn. Let's see, around the outside I'm not seeing too much. Ah, there we go. So we'll take this one and this one. Two identical tiles, and what I wanted to show you was the first time or opportunity we have to flip over these tiles. So what this says is anytime you make a group of 4 or more tiles that are the same color, then you have the ability, you must flip them over. So if I wanted to keep building up to more, because the more that you connect in one action to flip them all over, the more points you get. When you turn over 4 of them, you're going to get 2 points, whereas if you make like this, and then build another group of greens here, and then draw 2 more, and then actually connect those groupings so that there's actually a solid, contiguous, connected area of up to 8 or more, you'll get more points. So for 8, you can see the breakdown here. For 8, you're going to get 8 points, whereas for 4, you're going to get 2 points. So it's in your best interest to wait until later, but I just want to show you how it works. So we're going to go ahead and put 4 of them together. Once you put 4 of them together, or 4 or more that are touching of the same color, you'll take them and flip them over. If the tiles that you flipped over, so I'll go ahead and take the 2 points and place them next to or on your board. If the tiles that you flipped over were yellow, green, or red, you have the ability to place 1 shrine or roof tile on top of one of those that you just flipped. If the tiles that you flipped were black or blue, then you can place 2 of your roof tiles if you have them. If it was purple, you can also place 2, or if it's a dragon itself, you can place 2, and additionally take 1 bonus victory point. Okay? And the reason why you might want to hold off on those or maybe do less early on is because at the end of the game, you will score 1 bonus point for every shrine that is on top of 1, 2 bonus points for every shrine that's on top of 2 tiles, and 3 bonus points for every shrine that's on top of 3 tiles. Okay? Now, I'll go ahead and play just a couple more turns just to get a feel for this, but that's most of the possibilities. So I can go ahead and maybe this time around, I'll take 1 black tile, set it here, and take a bonus or extra shrine because I want to be able to have more flexibility there. It'll come back to your turn, and let's see what you might want to do. So there's not too many options here, but I also don't want to reveal too many more options for you. Maybe I want to limit them. So I will go ahead and take 1 yellow and 1 shrine. In fact, now that these are turned over, I have the ability to place 1 on top. You cannot place 1 on top of a face-up tile. But once they are flipped over, now I have the ability to build them up so that I can get to that 2nd or 3rd. And you can go higher than 3, but it caps out for point bonus at 3. So if you have 4 or 5 tiles high and a shrine on top of that, it's not going to give you any more than 3 bonus points at the end of the game. Unless, I believe there is a dragon that gives you points for higher. However, if you do connect a larger group of tiles that are the same color, then you can still score more than 8 points. For every single tile beyond 8 that you connect in one single action, you'll get 1 extra point. Okay, so we did that over here, placed 1, and took 1 shrine. Now it'll come back over here. So if I were to take this tile, now there would be 2 reds available to take. So maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe this is one of those times where I want to grab this 1 and place it somewhere. I could discard it and take a victory point if I didn't want to take the green. But that is one of those types of things that you might not necessarily do until you get to the bottom of the bottom floor, because you know that if you were to add it to your board, it's not actually going to have a chance of being turned over, so you're just going to chuck it and take the point. Earlier on in the game, the likelihood of me getting enough greens to flip this over is quite high, so I'm going to go ahead and just take it and take 1 shrine, because that's going to be worth a lot more to me going forward in the game. Then it'll come over here. Now I have been forced, or you have been forced, to reveal this red so that there's the ability to take 2. However, there's also the problem that this player is also going to likely have to take the last tile to make it so I will have first choice of what's on the 2nd floor. So see how this kind of cat and mouse game of when you might want to take 1 tile versus 2 tiles, now you're going to get into a place where you're stuck revealing the next floor so that your opponent has more options. So I don't really have much of a choice, so I'll go ahead and take 1 tile, 1 shrine, I'll stack them up, comes back over here. I say, thank you very much, I'd like to take 2 tiles at once because I already have a whole bunch of shrines, and I'm just going to go ahead and start a whole nother color. Although I'm starting to get maybe not crowded yet, but depending on how much I want to grow some of these before I actually flip them over, if I want to try and get one up to 8 or so before I flip it over, if I try and do that with all 4 of these colors, I'm going to get really crowded here. So I've got to play my cards and my tiles a little bit more strategically going forward. Now it's going to come over here. You say, well, I might as well take a couple of these, and maybe now you decide that it's time to build a larger area. So now we have 4 yellows, but they are not touching. Diagonal does not count, and I have the ability now to grow a larger segment of yellow to try and score more points going forward. But now I have first choice of many more options going forward, and maybe I want to get some... Oh, there's still not any way to get 2 dragon tiles at the same time, because they must match exactly. So I can't take these 2. I could take these 2. I can also start looking... I can extend my my view of things, but I think I'm going to try and get some more yellow. So I will go like this. I'm also going to try and build up my yellow here. Then it'll come over to you. Maybe you want to take 2 blues. Then it's going to come over to me. And maybe let's go ahead and take some reds. Comes back over here. And now you decide that you've got enough of these, so you're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yellows, means 7 victory points. So we'll get 7 victory points. We're going to flip these all over. And this is the only kind of tricky part of the game, is when you're taking them off of layers and try not to bump everything around. And I have, since it was yellow, I can take 1 shrine. And maybe this time, do I want to go up here, or do I want to keep building up and try and get them to 3? Maybe I want to put it out here in the corner so that it's not as obstructive, because you can't put any more tiles there. That place is locked in. So maybe I put it there in hopes of trying to get up to level 3 later in the game. Or maybe I think it's going to be a relatively short game, so I want to get those 2 points now when I have the chance. Alright, so it's going to come over here. We'll go ahead and just leave it like that. Now I'm going to go and take these 2, and I will do something similar. Now I'm going to place these, so I have 6 reds. Oops. And I get to put 1 shrine. I'll put it all the way over here in the corner, and 6 is going to score me 7 points. Comes back over here. So now, let's see, we have the ability to grab these, which we don't want to go build too much yet. So we'll go ahead and put them here, because we're going to want to get another shrine before we connect all these, because when we flip them over, we will get to place 2, and we only have 1 currently. So it comes over here, and now, let's see what I can do. Can't get the yellows going. Green has the ability to grow, so we'll do that. Okay, then it comes over here. Now we can take 1 blue and a shrine. So see how we're trying to set ourselves up, so when we go in here, it'll connect all of these, and we'll be able to put 2 shrines on top of level 3 to score 3 points for each of those sections. So that'll be an additional 6 points when we connect these. Okay, back over here. So now we can grab some of these greens, and let's go ahead and place. I'm gonna go ahead and bank on getting a little bit more there. Then it comes over here, and let's take, well, you don't have any more colors currently, and you kind of want to build them up, because you don't want to go into the 3rd floor with only a couple options. You want to have multiple options. That way your opponent doesn't know whether you're going to grab a dragon tile or not. Or if they do grab a dragon tile, they know that you have multiple things that you can close. If you don't have very many things to close, and they grab a dragon tile, they know that you don't have the ability to, or enough options to score a whole bunch of points. They can calculate exactly how many points you will have or not. So the more things you have open, like we do here, before getting to the bottom floor, the better. So the last thing I want to do before I stop is show you the closure here. So let's try and speed that process up. So let's grab these 2. What I was trying to build to over here, and what I would do in a normal game, is get the greens all to finish first, and I would have put, you know, these black tiles on top of there and then connected them kind of like we were doing here. But I will just put them here, which makes a group of 5. So I can place these here, and then it will come over here. And we will grab just this one, place it right in the middle there, and we'll grab a tile as well. So we'll flip those over. That is a group of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which will score 7 points. I'm looking at that right? Yeah. No, I'm looking at that upside down. A group of 6 will score 5 points. So that means I messed these other ones up. My apologies. Alright, so now we've grouped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so this will score another 5 points, and then we can put 2 shrines on top, so we will go ahead and place them up here. So let's say, ignore all of this, let's say the end game happened like this. For points here, we would total up 5, 10, 11, 12, then 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So that would be 21, 22, 23. So 23 points would be there. And over here we have represented, and I did not grab the additional 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points, which would be 3 for turning over those 5 blacks. And so that would be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 points over here. But as I said, that isn't complete, but I think you have a very good idea of how to play. Now you should have a pretty good idea of how to set up and play through Dragon Castle by Lorenzo Silva and published by Horrible Games. If I missed anything or if I was unclear, please let me know in the comments section below so that I can figure out where I went astray, and just so I can connect with you. And if you want to know my full review of this game, you can keep an eye out in the links to the description section, and you'll also find a link to macronovagames.com where you can buy Dragon Castle and many other great games. If there's anything that you want me to make as far as videos or games that you want me to review, please let me know in the comment section, and if there's a game that you can't find on macronovagames.com, make sure to let them know so they can add it to the store. Until next time, I want to thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you like what you see, and as always, have a wonderful day.